Are you as a leader getting in the way of making progress for your team and maybe even for your organization? And you might be doing it unintentionally, but it still stops and slows down change. I've just done an online presentation talking about AI in 2025 and beyond. And in that, I asked people, what are your biggest challenges? What are the things that you'd like to know about what's happening with AI? And many of the comments that came in, many of the questions and the frustrations that people expressed were they're not scared about AI anymore. They're not worried about it's going to take over the world. They were interested in what's happening in the future. But the biggest obstacle that many people are facing is that they're being held back from using AI in their workplaces. So the things like, we're blocked from using AI. I feel like I'm the only one who's interested in it. It's not part of our policy. It's not part of our job. And it's interesting because the sort of things that they're talking about here are very common, and not just with AI, but with change in general. And there are many leaders and managers who are unintentionally saying things that stop change and or hold back change with their team. So have you ever said anything like this to the members of your team? It's not part of your job. We tried that once, but it didn't work. It's against our policy. Our customers won't like it. So when you say things like that, it's generally because you have a good reason for saying them. There's always reasons that you could justify that, but also by saying that, you're pushing back against change. So somebody comes to you with an idea, and if you say to them, it's not part of your job, or we tried that once, it didn't work, then fair enough. But then they go away feeling a little bit like, oh, okay, maybe next time I won't come to my boss with the idea. Or they might try again, and they might get a different objection. And unfortunately, this is the fine balance that leaders and managers have to strike. Because on the one hand, it's absolutely part of your responsibility to make sure that you keep the organization safe, that you keep projects on track, and that you don't let things get in the way of the work that already is in progress by diverting to do something else. But on the other hand, you also want to embrace and build and foster this culture of change in your team, because there's a lot of change happening outside in the world, and you want your team to be open to change. So how do you find the right balance? How do you make sure that you can remove those obstacles to change while still making sure that you can still meet goals and KPIs and what the customers of your organization wants? So how do you do that? Well, there are a number of things that leaders and managers say that unintentionally cause these problems. And you can download a worksheet that I've got for you that you can do this activity. It's a bit of a fun activity to do with your team. And it's good if you've got good rapport with your team to identify some of the things that leaders and managers and even team members say that unintentionally create obstacles to change. And then the worksheet gives you a creative and fun way to figure out ways around that, so that you'd say those sort of things less, because you find reasons why something that you said may not be true anymore. So if you said, for example, we tried that once but it didn't work, and there's a good reason for that, what you could say is, well, okay, but our circumstances have changed now. It's worth trying it again. So what you're doing is finding an objection to the objection. So feel free to download this worksheet, use it with your team, and it's a good time of the year to do it as you're thinking ahead to next year. Don't spend all your time talking about strategic planning and the things that you're going to do. Also think about the behaviors that you're going to create within your team environment that makes people open to change and embrace change as well. And if anybody needs to change and be open to change more than anyone else, it's you as the leader or manager. So please download the worksheet, use it with your team, and I hope you get good results from it. I'll see you in the future.